next week. Hello, UK Crime Book Club. We're having a chat and got carried away and just realised we better come and say hello to everybody. So I'm absolutely thrilled. I've got loads of questions for you, Liv. So introduce yourself, show off your books, and let's get going.
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Liv, and my writer name is LV Matthews, and my debut was The Prank, which was only a year ago, but I've basically forgotten what it's about. And more recently, today, I've got The Twins. Do you want me to sort of introduce it?
Yeah, go for it. That'd be great.
So it's another psychological thriller, and it's for anyone that sort of enjoys the intricacies of family dynamics and dark secrets. And it follows two sisters, Margot, who's a quiet living nanny for a Kensington family, and Cora, who's a party girl and a dancer. And they're worlds apart, but they're connected by a childhood incident that haunts them both. And when the truth of it comes to light, they're pitted against each other in a race for survival. You can tell I've done this pitch before.
You can, yeah. Very polished. I literally forget things as I'm going. I've just pinned us to the top of the group and thought I'd tagged people, but that hasn't worked for some reason. It might just take a second to catch up.
Okay.
But we'll see. So talk to us about how you started. So we'll really get into the twins a bit later on, but talk to us about the prank first. And about your path to publication, actually.
Oh, yeah. God, I mean, I think every writer has this, don't they? It's such a roller coaster. So I started writing The Prank in 2015, and I had the hook. So the hook's about, when reality TV takes things too far, and about a girl who has a chance encounter with a guy, a CEO of a production company, and she finds a link between this show that he produces called Pranksters and her dad's death. So I had this hook about, when pranks go wrong. But I wrote it. I wrote about 7 or 8 drafts. I've got a document in my files that have got about 400 pages of words that I never ended up using, and I just spent so long writing it. And in 2017 I sent it off to agents, and I did the slush pile. I did work in publishing, but never on sort of the editorial side, so I never really knew agents, and I sort of wanted to do it for myself. I didn't want to use I'm in publishing. So I did the slush pile, the 3 chapters, the synopsis, blah blah blah, and my lovely agent picked it up and wanted the full thing, and a few people wanted the full thing, but it was, and I'm lucky enough that she saw something in it, because it was so unpolished. Like, looking back on what I sent her, it was, there wasn't much of a plot. There was the hook and there were the characters, but I'm still really bad at plot. I'm still terrible at working out plots. So it took us another 2 years to submit The Prank to publishers. And actually, when we submitted it in 2019, nobody wanted it. So I had been writing The Twins at the same time, and felt so much more confident about the whole process at that point, about writing and, actually looking at narrative arcs and like character arcs. But so we were all sort of ready to go out with The Twins. And then my agent was like, I can't let go of The Prank. I love it. Can I send it to Welbeck? They're a new company. So I was like, oh yeah, send it, thinking no one will buy it. And they did, which was amazing. Sort of by then I was like, oh no, I just can't look at it again. But we did, and we made it even better. And so it was published last March. And then they wanted another 2 books. So this is the first of the 2 books, and there's another one coming out, scheduled for spring next year. So that was my path. It was very, very rocky.
So tell us about The Prank, because I've finished it, absolutely loved it. I've had it for constantly in my hand, on my phone, on my Kindle.
Oh, bless you.
So it's generally I would have got through faster. It's been one of those horrendous weeks this week, so it's not stopped. But I absolutely love Eleanor, who is the main character. Absolutely love her. And her relationship with her sister, Lisa, is just, I have a brother, I don't have sisters. So I'm always
Yeah.
quite kind of envious of the kind of relationship that you've written. So
Yeah, I don't
how
have
did that
either.
idea come about?
Do you know what? It came about when I was watching, I was about 15 or something, and I was watching one of these prank shows, like You've Been Framed, well, not even You've Been Framed, like Punked and things like that.
Mm.
I can't remember which one it was. And my mum like came into the room and she was like, oh, I really hate those programs because it looks like the people like really hurt themselves. And I was like, yeah, actually, you're so right. And so I just suddenly thought, well, that's a really good hook for a plot. A hook for a book. You know,
Mm.
like how far is too far? And I think like prank shows that we're so used to like laughing at other people and
Yeah, I
tinned
hate it.
laughter.
I've got
Tinned
a
laughter
cat
sort of
syndrome.
makes it like acceptable to like laugh at people when they really do look like they hurt themselves. And I
Yeah.
was just like, yeah, let's write about that. Yeah.
And I love it. But what about the relationship? Because you've done sisters twice now. We're going to see sisters in book 3 as well.
No, a brother and a sister actually, book
Okay.
3. Yeah, so I've got a brother. I haven't got a sister. I'm not a twin, but I've got really good friends. So I guess I just use that as my experience to put in to
Mm.
those relationships. Yeah.
No, I absolutely loved them. And it's hard to know how much to go into, isn't it, with the book? You don't want to spoil anything. But there are just some fantastic characters in there. So
Oh,
Charlie, their uncle, I love Charlie. He's quite
everyone
a
knows Charlie.
character. Yeah. So where was your inspiration? Is it because you know somebody like Charlie, or is he an amalgamation of a few people?
Yeah, he is. I think he was just originally I had Charlie, so he's the uncle of our main character. I had him as an auntie, and I changed him because Eleanor, the main character in the prank, is so full of grief and
Mm.
she's so detached from life, and she just wants to live a really quiet life until this sort of moment that she meets that CEO by chance. And I thought, as an aunt, if she had an aunt, originally I wrote her, the aunt, as being quite emotionally, dependable for
Mm.
Elle. And actually, I thought, I mean, massively stereotyping here, but Charlie, if she was too emotionally available to Elle, maybe she wouldn't be as insular as she is in the book. And Charlie doesn't have any kids of his own. He's quite gruff. And I sort of needed a family member that wasn't, emotionally available, I
Yeah,
guess.
because what a different book it would be with an answer. As soon as you said it, I thought, oh
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
it needed
No,
Charlie.
she just wouldn't do the things that she was
Yeah,
then going to do, I think. Yeah.
yeah, because
And
she
he's
had an
quite
outlet
closed
and
up.
somebody to kind of bring her out of a shell, whereas Charlie does his best but doesn't really do emotional.
No. And
So
he wants to bury the past, whereas Elle wants to, her journey is discovering it. So, yeah.
yeah, and there's so much more to it, isn't there? And it is, again, it's really hard to discuss anything from it without spoiling things. Because I've not finished it that long ago tonight, and I think I'm still in the ending,
Yeah.
still wrapped up in it. In fact, just before we went live, I said to you that there was a quote in the book, and I didn't write down who said it, but it could have been Elle's dad. That's the beauty of a good storyteller, taking people with you.
Yeah.
Is a quote from the book, and I wrote it down because that's exactly how I felt reading it.
Oh, thank
Completely
you.
absorbed until everybody else got in the way of my reading. How rude.
Yeah, I think like as readers, because we're both readers, and everyone listening, you need characters to take you on a journey, and they've got to be really empathetic, and like not even that you like them necessarily, but you've got to sort of understand their motivations and their agendas. And I mean, Elle, I think is empathetic, but in the twins, for example, you've got characters that aren't so empathetic, but you sort of understand. And I think that for me, that's like the main thing in a book, even a thriller that relies so heavily on plot. I feel like if the characters aren't there, I'm not as absorbed in that journey, you know?
Yeah, definitely. We should say congratulations on today being publication day.
Thank you. Yeah.
So how has your day been? What have you been up to today?
Oh, it's been so good. It's been really fun. It's I drove around like all the accounts that took it. So to just like take photos and be like, yay, there it is. And we could announce today that it's part of the Rich and Judy book club picks.
How amazing is that?
I know. I'm on, honestly, I'm on cloud nine.
Like, on the inside.
Yeah, it's just mad. Like, I found out in November, but of course you can't say anything. So I could tell my husband, but I couldn't tell my parents or like my friends.
Oh no!
Like literally no one. Because also it wasn't like my news; it was also my publisher's news, and you just have to you just can't. Like it was gun to head.
Say, though, it's really your news. They were very lucky. At the right time, but you wrote it. It is your news.
Yeah, you're right. I wrote it. But yeah, no, I feel so like proud. That's a massive career high for me. So yeah, we'll see. Like, let's just hope that it like gains momentum and sells some copies. So, but yeah, and then we went to lunch, my husband and I, because my oldest son is at school and my little one goes to nursery on a Wednesday and Thursday. So my husband took the day off so we could have lunch together. And yeah, it's just been really lovely. It's been really nice.
I am going to make you promise that if you meet Reese Witherspoon, another big book club, me and Kaz are massive fans and like big fans of the film. So we'll give you a bookmark to give to her.
Oh my God, I would love that. I haven't got a US deal, so I'm just like hoping one day I might have a US deal for one of these books.
Well, you know what? Yeah, I can see it happening. I really can. And wouldn't it make a brilliant TV show?
Yeah, do you know what? I think the prank especially, because I think it lends itself so well. Yeah, a couple of people have said, oh, that'd be interesting. And also there's been so many sort of like the Harvey Weinstein thing was happening when I was publishing the prank. So for anyone that doesn't know, there's the character in the prank, the CEO is quite dark and shady. And yeah, I just thought actually it's so relevant. I still think it's actually relevant even without that. Just the fact that we've just go too far with pranks and laughing at other people.
Yeah, I don't like pranks. I never ever find them funny.
No, I hate them. Yeah.
There was an episode of Friends that one of my kids watched with me a while back, and it was I don't know if you ever watched it, but there's a character called Ben who is the son of Ross. And
yes, was this when
teaches him?
They throw the thing downstairs.
Oh, they throw the dummy. Oh my word, yeah, they do. I don't think that's a spoiler. I mean, this has been out for 20 years at least.
No.
So I think we're good with that. But it's like cling film on the toilet and all that kind of stuff. And Ross is wandering around with like a black line down his head.
Yeah.
In that context, because it was part of a closed show and it was kind of funny. But
yeah, I don't mind like harmless ones.
Staged stuff like that.
Yeah.
But actual things with real people who don't know it's happening. No. So you did a good job in making me. I said, who did I tell? I had this growing unease from starting to read it, and it just creeps up and builds the whole way through. So I don't even know, where do you begin when you sit down to write something like that? Where do you start with it?
With that one, it was definitely the premise of just prank shows and having somebody wanting revenge. So yeah, it was a revenge story. And actually Elle started life as such a different character. I had her from the start being very angry and aggressive, and my agent was like, you've got to go back in time and make her much more empathetic, because you want the reader to go with her, rather than her being completely hell-bent on revenge from the start, which was hugely good advice. But yeah, I mean, I had the idea, and as I said before, I just had so many drafts of it. So it did take me a long time to get it right.
With the twins? How did that go? So was it a different writing process?
Yeah. I don't know why. I think because I had the characters in my head for so long, and I felt like I learned so much from the prank. And I also, by that time, I'd read some really good books on theory, like the theory of writing. I don't know if you've heard or read Into the Woods by...
I've got it on my Kindle.
John York. Have you read it?
I've read some of it. Kelly Taylor recommended it a long time ago, so I bought it straight away, read bits of it, and I will finish it at some point, but my reading list's quite chocker.
I don't know how you do it. I honestly don't know how you do it.
It's just a love of books, there's nothing else.
But yeah, I heartily recommend that, because I felt like I understood how I should plot like the book, and also the characters' journeys, and yeah, so I just felt like I knew what I was doing. I knew what the motivations were for both of my characters, because it's written one twin and then the other. And yeah, I just felt like I knew them. I was so connected. Whereas with the prank, because it went through so many drafts, there were moments where I was like, well, who is she? Who is Elle? I always knew who Horsehead was.
Right, okay.
And he didn't change at all from start to finish. I just knew him. And I think that's a huge thing for me. If I know my characters, the plot follows. So yeah, with the twins, I just found it a lot easier. Yeah, luckily.
And how about with book 3? Because obviously you've done the prank. The twins is out today. You must have learned some things that you found helpful from writing the first 2 that have kind of, I don't know, does it make the writing process easier for the 3rd book, or is that wishful thinking?
Do you know what, Sam? I'm not going to lie. This 3rd book is like the hardest one. I don't know why. I think it's also because I'm on a deadline, because I have to give the first draft in by April. And I've never had that before, because I'd written the prank, obviously, before I had my agent, although we worked on it together for ages. And then I'd written the twins whilst I was still tinkering with drafts of the prank. So I've never had to write on a deadline. And I also feel like I have to make this first draft like as good as I can get it, because then obviously it goes through the year of edits. I don't know. I and also I've got a really good midpoint on this 3rd book, and then I'm like, now what?
You'll have the ending in mind before you get going.
I do know what happens, but I need to sort of hit those beats, and I sometimes get in a rush to get it all down. And also I think with this new book, with the pandemic, I didn't have an idea for so long. I was in a really like dark place in the pandemic. And so when I got the idea, literally the day that my boy could go back to school, I started writing straight away. And actually I think I needed time to like ruminate, you know, and like get to know the characters better. Like what I was saying before about knowing the twins and how easy then it was.
Yeah.
I just started writing the 3rd one immediately. And then I was really stuck, because I was like, I don't know these people. I don't know what their motivations are. So yeah, I found it really hard. I'm still finding it really hard.
How far in are you?
I'm 60,000 words in, which you'd think that I'd broken the back of it, but I still feel like I'm just like, oh, I don't know.
Some people don't feel like they've broken the back of it, as you know, even once they send it off.
No, that's it, isn't it? Oh, I'm really hoping there's like a light bulb moment. Yeah, it's hard. Anyway.
And we've got some hellos that I've not done yet. I've got it up on my phone. So Alison Willis says hi.
Hi.
Hi, Andrew. Leslie Lloyd, Andy Hill's watching, and Christy J. Newport. So a couple of our
hello
Orphan Jamies in as
everyone.
well.
Thank you
Andrew's
for
got
watching.
a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was trying to update the question then so I could see the whole thing, which is actually on the screen there. Andrew says, before I joined your interview with Stanley, I saw your book on fantastic fiction and I saw the cover of the twins. Do you have a say on your covers and talk to the designers in your publishers? So did you have any kind of say in the cover?
Do you know what? So with the prank, I did. And this image was something that, oh, sorry, I'm holding it the wrong way. This image was something that I had sent to my publishers. And with the twins, it went through like 3 different covers, very different directions. And then I realised, so Smiths didn't like one of the directions, when we had already sort of agreed on it. And I didn't initially know why they didn't like it and why we needed their buy-in, because I didn't know that Welbeck, my publisher, had nominated it for the R&J book club. So the way the book club works is that your publisher nominates books, then Smiths, who obviously are in conjunction with the book club, they sift through a long list, then a short list, and then Rich and Judy read the short list, which is like 20 books, and then pick the 6. So it went like for months and months about, and we didn't have a cover, to the point where I was like, oh my God, are we ever going to get a cover? And then they sort of specified that they wanted twins on the front, which is fine. But yeah, and then I realised why it was so important that we got their buy-in. So yeah, with this one, I didn't really have much of a say. And to be honest, my publisher was just sort of making sure that Smiths were happy because they were key. So yeah, but usually my publishers are amazing. What, sorry?
All the things that we don't think of.
I know.
All the things that go on behind the scenes and you don't realise who has an influence and who doesn't. And
yeah, it's really interesting.
Must have been quite surprising.
Yeah, it was really surprising. Like, I know, having worked in publishing, that retailers have a huge say, but I didn't realise at that point why it was taking so long. Yeah.
So have there been other things that have been different to how you expected them?
Yes and no. So I didn't realise how many sort of peaks and troughs and silences there would be from publishing, because I know that they're doing stuff in the background all the time, but their critical path means that they've got the edits, they send them off, they do the jacket, there's nothing. So there's a lot of silence and a lot of waiting. But I feel like I was lucky, having worked in publishing, that I knew that they were doing stuff, because I think a lot of writers are like, oh my God, I haven't heard from my editor, or I haven't heard like for months, and I'm like, yeah, that's normal.
So it didn't freak you out at all because you expected
it? Didn't freak me out, no.
So how has it been? So you're saying that you had difficulty writing and just ideas with the lockdown, which you are definitely not the only person who has told me that. So how has that changed now that things are, I won't say normal because that's nonsense, but now there's more movement in the world, and your son's back at school and all of these different things. So how does that change everything for you as a writer?
I just think it gave me a bit of breathing space, like a lot of people, like juggling homeschooling and just the uncertainty, right? Just meant that I just didn't have the headspace for ideas. And also, I don't know if you do this, but I go to work in cafes quite a lot, because like when you're writing like just by yourself in your study, it can get a bit boring. So I do go to cafes, and I really missed that. And I missed the sort of, conversations, or like even one lines you get from waiting in a queue, or just like overhearing some conversation that can like spark ideas. And I just, nobody had any of that. And also I was getting a bit stressed with editing the prank, which was the first lockdown that we had. And because they kept on moving the goalposts, didn't they? The government, they were like, oh yeah, 3 weeks and then 3 weeks. So I was doing like 1 day a week of doing my structural edits because my husband was just working his normal 4-day week, and I'm lucky he works a 4-day week. But that was really hard. And then he ended up taking loads of time off when it got to the point where we were like, oh my God, this isn't going to end. But by then I think like my brain was like really frazzled. I just didn't have any ideas. I just had nothing.
I have ideas aplenty, but no follow through at the minute, I think is the fair way of saying it. But I'm working on that as well. Andrew wants to know, how many chapters is 60,000 words?
Is my 60,000 words? Well, interestingly, I've learnt through the first book, I never in each chapter I put star, star, star. I never go 1, 2, 3, 4 because I change the chapters so much, or I add stuff into the narrative. So it got so annoying having to change my chapters. But my husband like always takes the mick out of me because I do really short chapters, because I quite like short cliffhanger chapters. So one of my chapters in the prank is literally 1 page, and he's just like, oh my God, do you get paid by the chapter? Is that why you do it? And I'm just like, no. But 60,000, I reckon that's about, well, for me, I'm just looking at the twins.
I know, I can't pick it up on my Kindle, so
probably about 30. Probably about 30 for me. But it varies. Like if you're writing literary fiction, right? I mean, it's just going to be much longer chapters, and
definitely varies. Yeah, there can't be any kind of standard, can there? Because a chapter needs what it needs. So
exactly. Yeah, and I never write to that formula that a chapter should be 30,000, 3,000 or whatever words like some people do. I did think though with the twins, because I have alternating chapters, I mean that 1 page chapter aside, it had to be 1 page. I needed to make those chapters long enough that people weren't getting confused in their head of which twin it was. And I hope that I've done that anyway by the way they speak, because they're quite different. But I had to be really mindful of a dual narrative to make sure that a reader was spending enough time with each character before I changed around again.
How about book 3? How's that kind of split? Is it 2 character stories, or?
It is 3. It is 3, but I spend quite a lot of time with each of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you driven yourself mad? Is that why you've driven yourself mad?
Yes, Sam. I don't know why I've done it. Also, I've like included police in it, which I always try and stay away from because I don't want to ever get anything wrong. And I have talked to a lot of police officers, which has been amazing. But what I love is like psychological. So I didn't want to get head down in like procedural aspects of it. But it has slowed me up a bit because I don't feel like I've been very confident in writing some parts before I've been speaking to police officers, you know. I think that's not helped me, like my confidence in that.
So is that the way round you would do it? You would write it, you would learn what needed to be in it and then you'd write it?
A bit of both. So I did speak to someone before I even started writing, and because I had quite a lot of questions. And now I'm 60,000 words through, I'm talking to a police officer next week just to sort of get clarification about things that have then come up. And doubtless there'll be other conversations. So I'll be like, Catherine, who I'm speaking to. Yeah.
So is she the police, are they the only people that you've sought advice from?
Yes, for this one, yes. Yeah.
We do have a lot of people that ask and answer very generously questions in the group. So if you're ever stuck, there is always somebody who will help.
Oh, amazing! You shouldn't have said that. I'll be listing them.
So we've got a hello from Samantha Healer, and
hello.
Leslie Lloyd prefers short, snappy chapters, which
excellent.
She loves
Good.
that kind
These
of
books are for you.
Yeah, propels you forward. And she just said she's had a sneaky peek, but not surprising, it's archived on NetGalley. So have you got, so is that the Twins is archived now because it's release day?
Yes, it was archived actually a couple of weeks ago, I think. But yeah, but because it's R&J, it's half price at Smith's in paperback, and it's half price
catching
at Amazon.
Now.
Sorry?
It's catching now. I blended two words together.
Can you hear me?
Can you not hear me?
Oh, sorry, I missed that. I think my batteries, I'm just going to move you. You're coming on a journey with me.
So is that your office that we're on a journey of at the moment?
Yeah. Here we go. I'm just gonna put the charger on. Sorry. Here we go.
Okay. The last person who took me on a walk while they plugged the phone in was Alex Gray. Yeah, I'm just looking at my bookshelf. She also has a beautiful office in her loft, and she's somewhere in Scotland. Somebody will tell me. And yeah, that was quite a nice little walk. Well, I don't think it was for the same reason though, but we had a little walk around. It's quite nice.
Brilliant.
So is that where you work from? Obviously you said cafes, but working from home?
Yeah, I've got a very small little cubby hole that I work in, which is amazing, and my other half has put in some bookshelves, which is just brilliant. He's very handy. But I love it. It's got like a pitch roof because it's a loft, and you know when it rains and you hear the rain, you're like, oh, this is so nice. So yeah,
that's a good point. So how much has the weather influenced how you've written certain scenes?
Do you know, I worked out the other day is that every book that I've started writing, I will set it in the same month or season that I've started writing it. So I've set the next one in March because I started it last March. This is how slow this book has been for me.
Right.
And the prank started at Christmas, and the Twins was summer. So yeah, I think it does influence me because I can immediately look outside and see, you know, or feel the air, like what the temperature is, or like hear the birds, or like whatever. And I really love that. I really love nature in books. So I use it quite a lot in my writing, especially the next one.
I don't think enough people talk about the impact of the air. We hear lots about clouds and storms and sun, but I don't know that that's something that it's one of the first things I think of, but I don't think it's a thing that most people consider. You know, the humidity or the thickness of the air or the heaviness when you know something's coming, and how much of an impact that can have.
Yeah, so true. Yeah. Tonight, apparently, it's going to be pretty windy.
Where actually are you?
I'm in Winchester, which is near Southampton. So we've had quite a lot of wind last night, but apparently it's big time tonight and tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know I've got a couple of fence panels out.
Oh no, have you? Where are you?
Manchester.
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
But so I love this weather. I know it drives everybody else mad, and all the fences are banging, and one of the fence panels is just out and flat because there's just no point. There is just no point. We've just given up. But it must be nice weather for writing in, though.
I think it's great. I love the rain is my favourite, like really heavy rain where you literally can't go out anywhere and you don't want to feel like you're missing out on the sun and you're just like in your little cubby hole. It's great. I love it.
So if you weren't writing on a rainy afternoon, you had the house to yourself and you thought, right, I can do anything this afternoon. I've got 3 hours. What would you do?
I would have a bath and I would take a book and I would literally be in there for an hour reading until I got really wrinkly and gross.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would light a fire and then I'd go and sit with my book by the fire, have a cup of tea. And I'd be in my dressing gown. I'm like always in my dressing gown. That would be my ideal afternoon.
Every occasion a dressing gown. It's got so many uses.
Surely. Exactly. Like a robe when you're going out.
There must be people who don't get that, but for those of you that do, you will understand the beauty of a dressing gown.
Winner.
Something for I could go on about dressing gowns as much as I could go on about cheese. So,
Oh, cheese, yes.
oh, go
Oh.
on, favourite cheese.
Oh, well, do you know what? It's got to be cheddar, smoked. Pretty good.
Okay, that's a new one on me. I don't like
Yeah.
smoked cheddar.
Oh, you've got to try it. So nice. What's your
Although the
favourite?
last one I had, I don't think was no. The one I'm thinking of is a German smoked one that was a bit too creamy and a bit too almost like rubbery. Wrong
Oh,
texture for me.
no. What's your
Didn't care.
favourite cheese?
Something really blue and stinky and like
Blue
blue
and
mold.
stinky. Oh,
Yeah,
blue mold.
blue mold. Yeah, might
Love it.
explain a lot. Andrew's asked, "Is the prank on audio?" So, have you? Well, I already know the answer. Go on, I'll just let you answer.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So both the books are available paperback, audio, and ebook. So yeah.
Have you gone down the route of libraries yet?
It is in libraries. And actually, I'm doing a library tour in Hampshire. If anyone's in
Okay.
Hampshire, and I do need to just like whack out the dates. Actually, we're just in the middle of finalising everything. So we're going to be in Farnham, Chandlersford, Basingstoke, I think. And I'm doing another event in Winchester. So yeah, I love libraries. I get so many books out from the libraries, and well, I mean, I buy a lot of books too, but I just think they're such an amazing resource.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, if you don't know what you're looking for, you can go in and
yeah,
somebody will be able to recommend something.
definitely.
Whether
They're
it's a
so
librarian
knowledgeable.
or somebody sat looking over the newspaper at you, looking at what you're picking up.
Yeah, yeah,
There's always
no,
somebody around.
yeah.
I used to
We've
live
got a
in
really good library.
I used to live in Hawkridge, but I can't think where exactly what it's near now. Didn't live there right near one of the chalk horses. I just can't
Oh,
picture the
yeah.
big
Is that
version.
Wiltshire?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
can't
That's not too
think
far from
of
us.
where the bigger city is near it. I can see it. I just can't pick. Can't name it.
Salisbury? Is that in? No, is that in
How about
Hampshire still? Oh my God, that's
Tewkesbury?
embarrassing. Showing myself up with my geography.
Yeah, no, mine's terrible. I need to stop. I absolutely need to stop. I don't know where things are.
No, I don't know. I just showed myself up. I'm just not going to say anything else.
If it makes you feel any better, Kaz came to see me in Manchester, and she showed me around different shops, and I
I
live
love
here.
that. I love it.
So her and James had a plan. So that was that. I was taken around. Oh, and speaking of Kaz, hello, Sam's very complimentary of the quality of your writing. How long do you
Oh,
spend editing? Yeah, I've been raving.
oh my goodness.
I've
So,
been reading about saying that it very much is, and I know all books are supposed to be like this, but it's very cleanly written. Every single word feels like it's the exact right word. I don't know how
oh,
else to put
very
that any
sweet of
better
you.
than that.
Thank
So I was
you.
trying to explain it to Kaz, but it's a hard thing to describe how much you're enjoying and how you're enjoying somebody else's book.
Oh,
It's
thanks.
hard to put it
So
into
nice.
words, but yeah, it's fantastic.
Do you know, I write the book about 3 times on the computer, and then I print it out because I actually find that so much easier to edit. And so I will litter it with like amendments. Oh my, sorry, it's my little boy.
That's okay.
Can you ask Dad? um, and then yeah, so I'll do it by hand, and then I'll have to type it all up again. And honestly, I should actually do it as I go along, but I have to do the whole thing and then go back because obviously things might change, and I forget what I've even written, and I've got so many lines going everywhere. But I think that's how you clean it up and how you make every word count and how you make it like eloquent and efficient, I suppose. And I really enjoy words, and like that's what we're like, right? Writers, like we love words and like phrases, and when a sentence is working, and when you think, oh, that's like I've explained that nicely, or I just love it. And I read quite a lot of literary fiction, and I think that massively influences how I write. I mean, I don't write literary fiction, but I really appreciate how sentences are crafted, you know.
Did you have any trouble getting into books during the lockdown? Did you ever have that kind of block with reading?
Do you know what? I think it made me
read more because I wasn't having ideas. I threw myself into reading, not to try and get ideas, just because, well, I love it anyway. Like, it is a massive hobby.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I read more than I ever have done in the lockdown because it was just a good distraction.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was just escapism from the hell that was the pandemic.
Yeah. Did you end up with a favourite book last year, or is that too mean? I had to pick my top 10, and it's that thing of, I said I wouldn't put you on the spot, and I feel like I just have done. I apologise. If there's
No,
nothing
that's
that comes
fine.
to
There were so
mind.
many though. I'll give you like 5 that I loved last
Right.
year. Long Bright River by Liz Moore. I loved that.
Okay.
I read True Crime Story, which is actually in paperback
Oh, yeah.
in March, and it is brilliant. It sort of rips up the rule book. It's so good. It's got twins in it as well, which of course I loved it. What else did I read? The Lamplighters by Emma Stone. Really loved that. Oh, that's 3. I'm trying to. I mean, I read 65 books last year, but now I can't remember any of them. Those are 3
this
that
is
I absolutely
what happens when people put you on the spot, and you go, don't know.
Oh,
I
I
would
really
not be good at sitting in your shoes. I'm not good at being interviewed at all.
No, you're so good. I'm just trying to think. The Wife and the Widow. I put this on the Facebook group actually. The Wife and the Widow by Christian White was like, so it was recommended to me by a friend, and it's brilliant. Such a good book. I'd not read his debut before, but I want to go back to that because it's just a really clever book. So yeah, I recommend that.
If you were in my shoes now and you could be interviewing anybody you wanted, who would you pick?
Triona Ward.
Any particular reason that she was the first name, or is this something
I just
you've
love
always
her.
thought about?
I think she's amazing. I read her second, well, no, not second one, but Sundial, which is coming out in March. I managed to get a proof of that, and it just is staggering. It's just great. But there are so many authors I'd love to interview. Some because they're just like so fun and funny, and some of them because I like admire their work, or some of them because I just think it would just be a great conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely fun, and you always learn something completely different. So I'm going to go for a couple of our favourite questions that we like to ask now.
Okay.
So one of them is, what was the last scene you wrote, if you can tell us without it giving anything away?
I wrote a scene for the 3rd book about a guy breaking into a house to try and find something that means a lot to him.
Okay.
I can't say more than that.
No, but I like the sound of that. I really like the sound of that. Okay, I'm in.
You're in. Good for you.
I'm in. And how about the memorable moments that you've had so far as an author?
Definitely the peak moment was when my editor rang me in November and was just like, we got Rich and Judy, and I was like, what? That was huge. And just like the really big moments, like getting my agent and getting the prank, like the offer for the prank, and I just, there are so many moments, or getting the covers through, like that's such a big thing, isn't it? Like it's the icing on the cake. And on the one hand, as soon as you sort of sell your book, it's not yours anymore. Like it's somebody's business product, which you have to sort of appreciate and let the experts do their thing. But that's I think the jacket is such a big thing for anybody. Yeah. And
the prank was your crime debut, and it was so well received. Was that must have been an exciting thing for you, because it was just mentioned all over the place.
I felt so lucky to be championed by such, like, the Twitter and the Bookstagram community, and like, I mean, I've only just found you guys, but everyone is so supportive, and I felt just so lucky. I mean, the sales were good. Like they were fine. I mean, it was out in lockdown, so I had Asda, luckily, like I know what a big deal that is, and I had Amazon, but all the other shops were shut, which was a huge shame. But I still feel so lucky that people have supported it, and I hope that they're finding it on the back of the twins coming out. But yeah, I just honestly I've been blown away by people, really.
Sam, Kaz has just said, what would be your dream publication day event other than spending time with the lovely Sam? Thank you, Caroline. Don't know what she's after.
Absolutely. What would be my dream event?
If you could literally choose anything in the world, what would it be?
Oh my God. What would I do? I'd go somewhere like, I'd go to the theatre in London. I don't know what I'd see. Maybe multiple shows. And then I'd have like the poshest dinner ever. Maybe at the Oxo Tower or the Shard. I've never been there. And I would go dancing because I love going dancing. And then I'd have a huge party. I mean, I'm doing a lot, aren't I, Monday? I'm having a party tomorrow with my friends, tomorrow night, just to celebrate, because I didn't get to celebrate last year. And I'm really excited about that, because that feels like just, you know, raising a glass and be like, yay, I did this. And I'm just going to, so I'd do that as well. I'd take everyone out and, you know, in an ideal world, maybe I'd have loads of money so I could, like, you know, spend all my money on the champagne and treat everyone.
So after you are done with book 3, and I know you're not there yet and you're in 60,000 word hell at the moment, but do you know what's coming next?
I have actually had an idea for book 4, but I'm out of contract then. So yeah, I mean, it's tough, isn't it? Like you're only as good as your last book. So I'm hoping with book 2 and book 3 that I'll have enough momentum that if I write something else, if I pitch it, I think as well, get a first look at whatever I do next, that they might like it and offer me loads of money. But yeah, I have got an idea. It's very much first stages. It's a germ, really, but at least I've got an idea, which is more than I had, you know, for a long time.
Best place you've seen a picture of one of your books. So you've said Asda, that's pretty good.
Oh yeah. So I've got the new one in Sainsbury's and Tesco's, which is amazing, and I'm hoping Asda might take it on the back of the Smiths news. But it is so hard. So when I was in publishing, I used to work in sales, and I know how hard it is pitching, especially for supermarket slots, because they've just got such small space, and you know, they go for very established names because they know they can sell huge quantities. I get that. So to have those two is amazing. So I went today to go to Sainsbury's and Tesco's, and I was just like, yay, there they are, and Smiths, of course.
Did you do the thing that authors tell me that they do, where they just stand and look? Emma Christie said she did it. She stood and waited just to see if anyone picked the book up.
Totally. And actually, I stood and looked at it, and there was this lovely old lady next to me, and she was just looking around. I was like, are you looking for a book? And she was like, yes. And I was like, how about this one? And she was like, oh, I've not seen that one. I was like, it's mine. You need to buy it. This poor old lady, she was about like, calm down. I don't know if she did buy it. I didn't want to like have a gun to her head and like follow her to the till.
I might have done. I might have had my husband at one end and me at the other and just been spying. You can't really do that though, can you? There's a plot for a book. Stalking somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Just like manic writers following people around stores. Yeah.
What actually happens so the announcement for the Richard and Judy book club, obviously you've known for a while and it's been made officially known today. So what actually happens?
What happens from now? It's just basically for 3 months promoted in store, which is great, and it will go in several places in store because they've got like a front of store section with Rich and Judy, and in like the main chart, I think. And yeah, so with publishing, like you guys probably know this already, but you know, if a book isn't working, especially in the supermarkets, that they don't give you many weeks to sell books. So everything is sale or return on books. And yeah, so if it's not selling, despite a publisher paying thousands of pounds for slots everywhere, they can send them back. So with Smiths, like we've got the guaranteed 3 months, you've got the name behind that, you know, the brand name, and you just basically hope for the best. Yeah.
How about for acting out scenes? Have you ever acted out a scene just to check that it's working?
Oh, that's such a good question. No, I
Over any
haven't. You what? Sorry,
over any gates at all? Just to
hopped over
see?
any gates. No, but maybe I should. Like I wrote a
No,
scene
really
in
don't
Twins.
hop over a gate with anything sharp above it. Don't do that.
Oh no, oh no, I wouldn't do that. No, I would impale myself. Like
I
that
would.
would happen to
I'm
me.
so clumsy.
Yeah,
So clumsy.
yeah. You know, oh, I dread to think like with those sharp railings. I watched a program once where somebody impaled themselves and the railing went like through their chin, up through their mouth.
Nice.
Can you imagine? So no, maybe it's safer that I just imagine it and don't act it out.
We've had some good answers with that. Anne Coates held a knife up to her own throat.
Oh my god, just to feel how it felt.
All of these people were fine. Catherine Yaff had herself tied to a chair to see about getting out of it. I'd forgotten about that one. That one's just
Oh
come
my
back
god.
to me. The winner at the moment is Mark Richards, who dangled off the end of Whitby Pier.
No, it didn't. That would freak me out.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't fall in. You should have seen him. He filmed himself walking down some steps that were in his book and fell at the bottom of that. He was fine. But dangling off
Oh my god.
dangling off a pier, no. Fight scene on the end of a pier,
No.
and then no.
That's like method acting. No, can't do it. No way.
So we talked about earlier on TV film adaptations. You know, the idea of how well the book, the prank would work, and obviously moving forward with the twins. And have you got a title for book 3 yet?
No, it's got a, yeah. You know, you can ask me. I haven't. It's got a working title, but my editor actually came back to me the other day. She was like, "I'm not sure about this title," and I was like, "Okay, well, maybe, you know, on chats and stuff, I won't like mention anything." So yeah.
But has the idea of an actual TV adaptation, has that been kind of floated yet? Do you know who would run with that?
I would love that. Like, what author wouldn't, right? But the film rights are all with my agent, so they've got a film rights agent in the agency, and I think you just have to sort of, you know, see what happens, see what sort of meetings they can get, and also it does sort of depend on the sales of the book, doesn't it? So the prank, although I love it and I think it would lend itself quite well, because it wasn't very visible. I mean, it was on social media, but it wasn't visible sales wise in the way that we would all love. But you know, I think you just keep on hammering the door, I guess.
Yeah, keep on keeping on. When you started with book 1, was the prank I know you were writing the prank and then you went on to the twins. Was there anything before that? Is there anything in a drawer somewhere?
Yes. So I wrote a book which I'd really like to go back to. I feel like I had the idea in 2007, and actually, because you've read the prank so recently, the idea is, you know, in the scene where the production company are at the conference and they're talking about their new pitches for their new book, for their new programs. It was The Underground Girl, which is about this girl who lives on the underground, and she befriends a man who is well, actually, if I end up writing it, maybe I won't say, but they sort of help each other out, and I love this book so much. And when I was in London on the tube, I was like, oh my god, this is such a good place. Like it's so visceral and like the air, like we're talking about the air, like there's no air quite like the tube air, right? And I love this book, but I just don't think I could have done it justice. But I did try and write it, and I sent it to agents, and I had a bit of interest, but nothing came of it. And actually, I sort of made it into a YA book, and it shouldn't be.
Okay.
So, but nor is it a thriller. Well, it could be, but I don't know. I don't know. One day I'll get it out.
It's made me laugh that you said that, because when I was reading that bit, that bit in the scene when they're in, it's kind of an auditorium, isn't it? They're all thrown into this huge room, and Jim Valente, who's one of the characters, was saying that there's two ideas, and then you'd written one and then kind of gone off and done something else while the other one was discussed. And I thought, I wonder if that's an idea for something. I wonder if that. Oh,
yeah, you're right. It is
already. So. Okay, quite pleased with myself, because, like I said to you,
you're a writer.
I didn't guess, which is unusual for me. I generally see coming a mile away, but I didn't. I just didn't, and I loved that. I love it when somebody really throws me off, but it's all right there.
I'm hoping you might have that with the twins as well, but I don't know.
I'll let you know.
I don't know. You might.
But, don't be too disheartened if I get it the second time.
No. I do think it's really hard, especially with thrillers and crime now, to have that shock element, and because people just expect twists, or they expect the one character that's in it least to be the person that, it's just, I find it really hard. So now I feel like I try and go on hook rather than twist, because I think a character done well, I would follow them anywhere. Whereas, twists are really hard to be original now, and I'd rather have a character than a plot twist that's too obvious now.
I know what you mean with that, but one thing I did want to say, and we are almost had our hour. It's gone really fast, but
it has.
With everything that you wrote in the prank, and I know we're here to talk about the twins, and you have to come back once I finish it. It very much felt like everything that you'd written felt believable. So everybody's motivation for everything that happens throughout, none of it felt far-fetched. And even things that could have easily, gone a different way, it's like you chose the right path for each bit. So, I mean, that in itself, that is such a hard thing to get right.
Oh, thank you. Because, I mean, it took a lot of work. But we got there eventually.
Well, thank you so much. Congratulations again on publication day.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad that I've discovered this group. You guys are, like, the topics you guys cover, it's just lovely. There's so much, like, spark and conversation. I think it's great.
We like it. We do.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for agreeing, and I know it was quite short notice that we just found a date quickly, didn't we, and hammered the details out.
It's great, and on pub day it's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you to all of the members who have joined in. We've got some good luck messages for you from Leslie Lloyd. Good luck, and she really enjoyed the interview.
Oh, thank you, everybody. That's so lovely.
So
thank you for joining
with book 3, and once you get past the 60,000 word hell, once you come out the other side of that, and thank you so much for joining us
soon.
In fact, just quickly show us the book covers again before we go.
Yeah, sure. Hang on, let me just take you on my journey again.
I'm sorry, I forgot you'd moved.
No, I'm suitably charged up now, so I can show you like my little cubby hole of writing. So this is my shelves. Oh, here they are. So the first one, the prank, and the second one,
I absolutely loved it.
The twins.
Yay. Thank you so much, and congratulations again with your good Richard and Judy news as well. Best of luck with it.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, and thank you everybody for joining us.